Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will get lost in the pages of Wuthering Heights by Emily Brontë. Wuthering Heights, written by Emily Brontë and published in 1847, is a dark and powerful Gothic novel that explores intense emotional landscapes and the destructive power of love, vengeance, and obsession. The story is set on the remote moors of northern England, where the intertwined lives of two families, the Earnshaws and the Lintons, unfold over several generations. Heathcliff, the brooding antihero, takes center stage in a tale that blurs the lines between love and hatred, life and death. Plot summary. On the cold, desolate moors of northern England stood Wuthering Heights, a brooding, windswept estate, where Mr. Lockwood, a new tenant at the nearby Thrushcross Grange, made an ill-advised visit to meet his landlord, the grim and mysterious Heathcliff. The residents of Wuthering Heights, with their savage dogs and inhospitable nature, left Lockwood bewildered. But it was the strange, dark figure of Heathcliff, a man who exuded both bitterness and sorrow, that piqued his curiosity. After a stormy night, Lockwood fell ill and spent time at Thrushcross Grange, cared for by the housekeeper, Nellie Dean. Seeking entertainment, he asked Nellie to recount the history of Wuthering Heights and its inhabitants. Her tale wove a dark and tangled web, reaching back decades, when Mr. Earnshaw, the master of Wuthering Heights, brought home an orphaned boy from the streets of Liverpool. That boy was Heathcliff. From the moment of Heathcliff's arrival, the dynamics at Wuthering Heights shifted. Young Catherine Earnshaw, wild and untamed as the moors themselves, formed an immediate bond with him, while her brother, Hindley, grew resentful, furious at their father's affection for this stranger. As the years passed, Heathcliff and Catherine's bond deepened, not just as friends, but as kindred spirits, two souls fiercely united by their shared passion for freedom and rebellion. Yet, this intense love was also their undoing. Hindley, after inheriting the estate upon his father's death, sought to degrade Heathcliff, turning him into little more than a servant. Despite the cruelty he endured, Heathcliff's love for Catherine never waned, but Catherine's ambitions wavered. In a fateful decision, she chose to marry Edgar Linton, the refined and gentle young man from Thrushcross Grange, believing that such a match would elevate her socially. Yet in her heart, she knew her true soul belonged to Heathcliff. It was not long after her confession that Heathcliff, overhearing her dismissal of him as beneath her, vanished from Wuthering Heights, leaving Catherine bereft and regretful. Years passed and Heathcliff returned, not as the destitute boy who had left, but as a wealthy, powerful man. With his return, a dark storm settled over both Wuthering Heights and Thrushcross Grange. Heathcliff had not come back simply for love. He sought revenge. His first act of vengeance was to take control of Wuthering Heights, exploiting Hindley's weaknesses and reducing him to a broken, drunken man. But Heathcliff's thirst for retribution extended beyond Hindley. His cold, calculated marriage to Isabella Linton, Edgar's innocent sister, was a means of further tormenting those he despised. Isabella, captivated by Heathcliff's brooding allure, soon discovered the cruelty that lay beneath his surface, suffering through a brutal, loveless marriage. Catherine, already fragile, became increasingly tormented by the toxic proximity of Heathcliff and Edgar. Torn between the man she had married and the man she could never truly let go of, her health rapidly deteriorated. She grew hysterical, consumed by a fevered longing for the freedom of her youth, for the wild days she had spent with Heathcliff on the moors. Eventually, this inner turmoil led to her death, shortly after giving birth to her daughter, Cathy Linton. Catherine's death shattered Heathcliff. Though he had achieved much of his vengeful goals, nothing could fill the void left by her absence. He became even more bitter and malevolent, lashing out at those around him. Heathcliff's wrath extended to the next generation. He treated Hindley's son, Hareton Earnshaw, with the same cruelty that he had once endured, raising him in ignorance and servitude, denying him any education or gentleness. At the same time, Cathy Linton, the mirror image of her mother in both beauty and spirit, grew up at Thrushcross Grange under Edgar's loving care, unaware of the dark shadows of Wuthering Heights that loomed so near. As fate would have it, Cathy's life became entwined with Wuthering Heights when she met Linton Heathcliff, the sickly and spiteful son of Heathcliff and Isabella. In a cruel manipulation, Heathcliff orchestrated a marriage between Linton and Cathy, intending to secure his final act of vengeance, claiming both Thrushcross Grange and Wuthering Heights. Linton, however, was frail and died shortly after the marriage, leaving Cathy at the mercy of Heathcliff's control. Yet amid the desolation and cruelty, a glimmer of hope remained. Cassie, with her fiery spirit, found an unexpected connection with Hareton, the rough and uneducated young man who had been degraded by Heathcliff. Despite his brutish upbringing, Hareton possessed a quiet dignity and strength, and under Cathy's influence, he slowly began to reclaim his rightful place as an Earnshaw. Their blossoming love marked a chance for redemption, an opportunity to break the cycle of hatred that had plagued both families for so long. As Heathcliff descended further into madness, haunted by the ghost of Catherine and his own unrelenting grief, he lost interest in his worldly gains. Wuthering Heights, once the symbol of his revenge, became a tomb. Obsessed with the idea of being reunited with Catherine in death, Heathcliff's will to live ebbed away, and he was found dead in her old room, as if finally succumbing to the overwhelming pull of their tragic love. In the aftermath of Heathcliff's death, the storm that had long hung over Wuthering Heights began to clear. Cathy and Hareton, representing the new generation, were free to rebuild their lives, leaving behind the legacy of vengeance that had consumed their families. Together, they sought peace and harmony, paving the way for the possibility of love and happiness to return to the moors. That's it for today, but if you're looking for more great reads, dive into other books by Emily Brontë. Details are in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in Emily Brontë's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.